Hello, fellow traders. 'Tis I, the Rumpled One, coming to you on let's see, it's Thursday, December the 24th, Christmas Eve. The year's 2020. Let's talk trading. One trade at a time. Just so you know, one video at a time. These videos are for educational purposes only. Your results may differ from mine. One trade at a time. Okay, many of you use my dashboard, or some of you do, and it displays the results for multiple pairs at a time. But you really need to focus on one trade at a time, because that's the way you build your portfolio. That's the way you build your account. And some of you like to go from pair to pair, which is okay. But when you're doing more than one trade at a time, that's when you start to juggle. That's when things can get hairy, especially if you've been trading pound pairs. These things are flashing 10, 20 pips. Uh, at any time, it's like, why did that thing just move 50 pips? Well, I mean, whenever you ask a why question, it's usually an ending loop, but it's just that it's because there was an imbalance between buyers and sellers at that time. I mean, that's why it moved. It's a very simple explanation, but usually somebody wants something more behind it, like, did a elected official say something? Was there a disaster? Was there a news release? What caused traders to do what they did at that moment? But it's not really that important. You have to focus on your trade, your portfolio. And it seems like that can be hard for some people to do. They just have a tendency to take the focus off of their plate and look at what's on somebody else's plate. And, if you've got something on your plate, be thankful, right? But, when we, talk about one trade at a time, it really gets into the brain management, so you don't succumb to any of these um, conditions or states of mind. You definitely don't want to be in a state of fear or state of regret when you're trading. Looking at the month here, we've crossed the 1.36, and then we've come back down 34 pips off a yearly high. On the week, we're approach previous week's high. You see we're in that upper wick zone still, and all but 1, 2 gaps have filled so far. On the day, we broke last week's. I'm sorry, we broke through the opening range of the week once again. I think I talked about that earlier this week. At the moment, 90 pips above it. Very simple horizontal line trade. And as you can see here, it even broke out of yesterday's wick zone. So we had the high here, opening range. There was twice you could have taken advantage of that this week. Once again, I guess we didn't quite make a new daily high today, but close to it. 37 pips off the high. That means there's some red rats feasting. Inside bar, we opened above it, never touched it. Once again, showing we broke through the high. The pound pair is all over 100. Everything else is pretty muted. I mean, the euro only 33 pips. Pivot point was below, so if you faded the pivot, you never got a trigger. But you can see here, we had like, somebody was asking about an outside bar. Well, here you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 candles that were within the range of that master candle there. And then finally it broke. And did it ever break? About 100 pips. So yeah, you could trade outside bars if you want. Master candles. But I guess technically this isn't really an outside bar, it's a master candle. If you have, I think, 3 or 4 candles that stay within the high and low of this candle here, that's considered a master candle. I think an outside bar would be more like this one, where the high is higher than the previous high and the low is lower than the previous low. So this would have been an outside bar. And once again, you can see here when price broke it, did it, but the inside bar right here, where you had 1, 2 in a row. And then this 2 was also a master candle because you had 1, 2, 3, 4 bars within that range, as you can see, and then it broke it to the upside. So red rats, there was an opportunity here once again. If you're having trouble with the rat zone, then what you want to do is look at H1 and only trade when the H1 is red. So you take your chances here. So price failed to make a new high here, and then it fell through the open. So, and if you look at this trade, this would have been a holo trade, highest open trade, and also it would have been a 1, 2, 3 trade because price made a higher high, then a lower high, and then reversed. So the trigger is the same as the holo, and there was some pips to be made there. So your entry was, you would have been short around 136.06, right near the psychological double low, and this hit a low of 53. So there was 50 pips to be made in less than 2 hours. Once again, simple trading, nothing, no higher math required, no squiggly lines required. Missed that pivot. And you can see here, missed pivot today. But for the week, we took it out, and for the month, we took it out. Wick zones, in and out, dipped back in, came back out second time. On one of our trading screens, you can see here, there was a Walmart trade for just a few pips. So on these trades here, we're on the M5. You can see price barely touched it. Well, actually, it didn't touch. It was 898 here. That's almost, I could call that a hand grenade because you see 1, 2 failed, and here on the third attempt it failed, and on the fourth attempt we had a high of 92. You take your 2 pips. Here once again it broke it. You had a high of 91, started to reverse. If you hung in the trade, let's see, you had an opportunity to get another 2 pips. So as you can see, price was just struggling, wasn't pushing this higher. So you get in, it stops, starts to reverse, you're out. I mean, that's kind of trading what you see, not what you think, not what you hope. And hopefully you were quick enough to grab a pip or two off of those, because sometimes that's all you get. I mean, and really, right now, in fact, I probably won't trade for the rest of the year. Um, Walmart said he wasn't going to trade all of the month of December, and earlier this week I said, I had a few other things to do, and things can get kind of hectic, kind of crazy. Even though usually I like it when it's hectic and crazy, it's usually when I can make the most pips. But I just decided it's like just take some time away from actual trading. In fact, I finished up the last batch of the donational indicators. I sent those out, popped in 3 new indicators. And let me just give you a heads up. Make sure you look in the TRO build 1200 zip file, because I found an indicator and I modified it. I'm not even going to tell you the name, so you go on a little treasure hunt there, but you can tell by just look at the date. You'll see it's probably a December indicator that was updated or modified then. And so might talk about it some maybe next year, or or see if anybody finds it, and if they want to ask a question, then I'll talk about it. Once again, the simple chart, just trading, truly trading what you see here. So once again, we had a high of 92.4. So if you got in at 90, you had a chance to take 2 pips. Now, the funny thing is, 2 pips doesn't sound like a lot, but the reality check is this. If you can make 2 pips a day, every day, you're well on your way to riches. Because when you start to trade at $100 a pip, that's 200 a day. And then as you start to move up past the $100 a pip, as you can see, the money will start to roll in. And the beauty is that sometimes you go for 2 pips and price, the market smiles upon you, goes in your favor, and it could rocket up, 4, 5, 10, 20 pips or more. And then you just rake it in. But, it's all part of a trading plan, and you have to decide how you're going to take those steps. That's why I was talking about one trade at a time, because you're not going to go from A to B, at least the likelihood of going from, where you're starting to where you want to wind up for the day, for the week, or actually maybe for the month or the year, in one trade. You might make it all your daily goal in one trade. That's usually possible if you have reasonable, achievable, statistically achievable goals. Every now and then you could do a week's worth in a trade if it just, smiles upon you. Say for like Walmart, 10 pips a day. I think, you can catch one trade like right here. If you caught that for 50 pips, you made a week right there. And depending on your lot size, if for some reason you increased it, you made even more. So it's just really important to focus on that one trade at a time, working towards your goal and knowing when to quit. And so right now we're still at that high of 92.4. Let's see. Maybe maybe they'll break the previous high here. We've only got a few seconds left because the fastest 15 minutes in trading is up. So, fellow traders, I hope you had a profitable week so far. I hope you have a safe and a Merry Christmas and a happy holiday. And we'll see you. Probably won't see you till next week. I don't think there's any reason to open up the trading platform on Christmas. So when I see you next week, just remember, it's not what you trade, it's how you trade it. So go out there and drain the banks. This is the Rumpled One, over and out.